questions as time permits. Questions have been reviewed by our League of Women Voters volunteer screeners and will be addressed to all candidates. For most questions, each candidate will have up to 1 minute. However, I may expand the time to answer depending on the question. We are pleased to have 2 community partner organizations with us this evening who have a representative here to ask a question. Our partners are Sister Carmen, a nonprofit agency based in Lafayette that serves community members in East County, and the Lafayette Youth Advisory Council. I'll introduce the representatives later in the forum. Okay, and our Zoom timer, who will be here, who has the wonderful paddles, is going to help you stay on track. Emma Pillar is going to be tonight's timer, and we'll finish with 1 minute closing statements. Now to the opening statements and questions. Please watch for the timekeeper's signal at the 15-second mark and end when your time is up. If you are mid-sentence when your time is up, please promptly finish that sentence so we can move on to the next candidate. For the opening statements, we'll begin with candidate Kervan. You have 1 minute.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for this opportunity to speak with you this evening. My name is Anya Kervan. I'm a mom, a nurse, a businesswoman, and entrepreneur. I have lived in Colorado for 50 years, and the reason that I'm running is that it's really clear to me the current leadership has failed Colorado. We have some of the highest crime rates in the nation. Only 35% of our kids can read and write at grade level, and we have the highest inflation rate in the nation at 16%. That's double the average of the rest of the nation. And as a representative republic, we have hold our politicians accountable. And to that end, I really want to ask Representative Burnett, do you live in House District 12? That is a legal requirement under the state statute. So I would appreciate it if you could tell us tonight. Thank you.
As a note, this will be conducted as a candidate forum. Therefore, the questions will be coming from the league.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we'll have candidate Burnett for opening statements for 1 minute.
Thank you, League of Women Voters. I'm Tracy Burnett. I'm a mom, an engineer, an entrepreneur, and a world-class runner. And I'm running for re-election in House District 12. My biggest heroes are my dad, who instilled a pursuit of excellence. And my mom really instilled in my 3 brothers and me a passion for making the world a better place. And I've channeled those 3 values into my priorities, which I call the 3 E's: environment, education, and equity. And over the past 2 years, I've passed 19 bills and delivered on every one of those promises, and the majority of them have been bipartisan. My bills included saving Colorado's money on utility bills and helping everyone on the path to a sustainable future, and building healthier, more efficient, affordable homes, saving schools time and money, creating good, well-paying jobs, getting rid of antiquated jobs that hold businesses back, and improving emergency radio communications. And I'm just getting started.
Thank you. For our first question, it will be directed to candidate Burnett. Do you have ideas for reducing inflation here in Colorado? For 1 minute.
Oh, you know what? the inflation is a world problem. I mean, Germany and Britain, they have 10% inflation. Here in the US, it's 8%. And a lot of it's caused by the war in Ukraine and supply chain issues and things like that. But what really bothers me? There's a lot of companies that are holding back on their profits. And they're in fact, in Q2, there was $60 billion that the oil and gas companies retained, and they use that to buy back stock. But what are the things that we have been doing here in Colorado? We rolled out universal kindergarten. We're rolling out pre-K. We have accelerated the Tabor cuts, so that the Tabor refund, so you're getting them and everybody gets the same amount. So what are the things we have to do in the future? We have to reduce childcare costs and co-locate childcare near workplaces. And I've also worked on energy efficiency. Thank you.
Candidate Kervin for 1 minute.
Yes, thank you. I think the biggest issue regarding inflation is quit printing money. We have to live within our means. And to get the inflation going, that's been pretty much man-made by the Biden administration, that we need to get our energy sector going again. So we turned off our gas and fuel, and that was one of our biggest national products exporting. And I think we need to get the pipelines turned on again. We need to recharge the energy industry, and not just fossil fuels, but start to get renewables going, geothermal, nuclear, all those things can bring prosperity back to Colorado.
For the next question, we are pleased to invite Suzanne Crawford, the CEO of Sister Carmen, a nonprofit agency serving people in need in Eastern Boulder County. Suzanne, please go ahead with your question. We'll start with candidate Kervin for 1 minute.
Candidate Kervin, what efforts are you making or will you make to ensure that everyone in our community has access to the basics, including safe, affordable, and secure housing, nutritious food, and access to healthcare?
Well, I have to say that I don't know all the programs that are in place for the people that are in need, but I think that I would do everything possible to make sure that people have the ability to have shelter and food, etc. But I really am not versed in all the programs that are available from the state, from the churches, from the communities. So until I really feel well versed, I can't give you a better answer than that. But my compassion is there as a nurse and as a believer. I do everything I can to help the needy in our community.
Candidate Burnett.
Thank you for this question. First of all, I volunteered for the Our Center Board of Directors. I was on the Board of Directors for over 10 years. So this is near and dear to my heart. And, I think everyone deserves a place they can call home, and food and utilities. And so what are the things that I've been doing? Well, first of all, Colorado's invested a lot of money, for over $400 million in affordable housing. And I have worked personally on improving the energy efficiency of housing for residents and also for affordable housing, and doing a program that fosters affordable rental housing for people like teachers who are starting out in their jobs. Those are the things I'm doing. But we need to vote in the school lunch program, and we need to expand broadband, because that's how we can get better telehealth throughout Colorado. And I've been working on these things and will continue to work on these things. Thank you.
For our next question, we will hear from Santali Donahue, co-chair of the Lafayette Youth Advisory Council. Sonali, please ask your question to be answered first by candidate Burnett.
Hello, Kennedy Burnett. My question is, how can you ensure that school systems and other local systems continue to support girls and other youth interested in STEM and other underrepresented fields for girls?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question because I'm an engineer and I so believe in that. You know, I think it starts by working with kids, girls, when they're before they get to middle school. And I have been, I actually fostered a robotics team in middle school to teach and to get girls interested in science and technology. So that's one way. You know, we have to get over this fear of math and things like that. And so the other thing that I do is I just go out and talk to students and let them know that it is really fun being an engineer at the state capitol because you get to do really cool things and make a big difference in people's lives. And a lot of people, a lot of legislators are afraid to take on, you know, difficult, complicated things like technology and, you know, all the energy efficiency things I do. So the more that we go out and talk to people and show and demonstrate that we can do this, I think it will really inspire kids. Thank you.
Candidate Kervin.
Thank you. As a nurse and a master's in science, I'm delighted to see that that you're interested in STEM. I think one of the key points that we have to be thoughtful of is I think our educational system needs a real sea change in the entire system. Our kids are failing at multiple levels. The teachers are leaving. Colorado will not have a workforce exactly to innovate and invent and prosper. And so I think it's really going to be breaking up the educational monopoly that we have now. And then it's really to encourage school vouchers, choice, and have that money follow the kids. So if you're interested in scientific achievements, you can go to a school that really works to provide that. Thank you.
For the next question, we'll start with candidate Kervin. How can the state help reduce crime and street drugs in our city and towns? For 1 minute.
Yes, well, I think the big way we need to do that is close the southern border. I mean, I don't have responsibility to do that, but all the drugs are coming up from the open border, and especially fentanyl, as we know. And right now, I think the Colorado State Patrol has just this year seized more than 412 pounds of fentanyl, and that's enough to kill 93 million people. We're on task in Colorado right now to have 2,400 of our young adults die from fentanyl overdose. And so I think it is the decriminalization of fentanyl and other class 2 narcotics that have created this problem. And I think we have to repeal that bill and make all class 2 narcotics, be it heroin, fentanyl, a felony. And that is how you're going to quit the crime, because it's all related to that.
Okay.
Candidate Burnett for
Okay.
1 minute.
Okay, we need to support the law enforcement officers and give them the tools they need to fight crime. And, you know, we just passed this big bipartisan fentanyl bill that holds the gives law enforcement the tools they need to fight the fentanyl crisis, and also to help those who are addicted to fentanyl with the support they need. And so that was a big, huge bill that we passed this year. But we need to do more than that, because there's so many people. The mental jails are the largest place where people with mental health problems are housed. And so we need to do things more like the Boulder County's mental health diversion program and invest more in similar programs like STAR, where mental health professionals are called out to help with crises rather than, so our law enforcement folk can focus on what they're trained to do, and that is to fight crime.
For the next question, we'll start with candidate Burnett. What is your opinion on how the state of Colorado handled the COVID lockdowns? How would you want to modify it in the future? For 1 minute.
Thank you for that question. I think it was I think we did pretty well. In fact, our COVID rates and deaths were less than other parts of the country. I know that it was a very divisive issue, but I think we need to follow the science. It was really, really difficult at first getting things like PPE, personal protective equipment. And so we just passed a law that says that we can stockpile those kind of things. So we do not have the problems that we had trying to get those critical equipment on board. So we also need to just do a better job of communicating the risks and how people can get the health care they need. And so, I think in bottom line, we have to follow the science, and the science changes. And so this is what we had going on with the COVID. We did not know what things were. It was a new virus. And so the guidelines did change over time. Thank you.
Candidate Kervin for 1 minute.
Yes, thank you for the question. I think we did not follow the science. I can tell you as a nurse, I was appalled that we were all truly wearing masks all day long. Because as a nurse, I know the masks that everybody was wearing, a virus is very small, and it's smaller than 2 microns, and the masks aren't that small. They're good for bacteria, but not for viruses. So the science was not followed. There was a lot of changes. The science changed every day. And I hold Dr. Fauci and a lot of the public health officials squarely. They created a lot of distrust in the healthcare system because of their lack of leadership. I think I agree at the beginning, we weren't sure what we were dealing with, but when we did, we were not listening to the good scientists. We were following some person that made really outlandish models that proved to be wrong. So everything that they had told us at the beginning ends up to be not correct now. And that's sad because people have lost faith in the healthcare system. Oh,
Rookie mistake. For our next question, we'll start with candidate Kervin. Oh, hello?
I think she's frozen.
It appears so.
You're logged in from another device. Hello?
Hello, candidate Kervin, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm sorry, I did not hear the question. And somehow it just.
Okay, I'll repeat the question, but it looks like you're freezing again.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Yes,
Okay.
If you could repeat the question, somehow we froze up, not sure what happened.
Yes. Here is the question. what are your thoughts about the oil and gas industry as well as the renewable energy industry?
Well, I'm a supporter of oil and gas. I think we will need oil and gas for the near future. I also support nuclear energy. That's the cleanest energy around. I support geothermal and renewables. I think we have to have a whole host of solutions here. I don't want the solution be electricity, because it still takes coal to drive electricity and electrical vehicles. So I think we have to be pragmatic, we have to be reasonable, and we have to use all forms of energy. And I think the more that we use and allow the market forces to work, that we'll have competition among all these energy sources, and we will get innovation out of it. So I think that we should turn on the energy sectors and have them innovate and really bring solutions to the problems with wind and solar. And so I am for making that competition happen. Thank you.
Candidate Burnett for 1 minute.
Thank you. I believe in the science and climate change. And that says that we have to stop burning and extracting fossil fuels. And we need to bring everybody, we need to start weaning ourselves off of fossil fuels to heat our homes and to drive our cars. And we need to bring everybody along on that path to the sustainable future. And the Colorado, the utilities are telling us, that they're going to be 80% renewable by 2030. So we need to make sure that we have EV charging stations, and because you will not be able to buy a gas-powered vehicle by 2035. And we need to bring people who are in the fossil fuel industry along. Solar and wind plus battery backup is the least cost utility grade scale energy right now. But we need to look at things like, I agree with candidate Kervin, we need to look at geothermal, we need to look at hydrogen. Thank you.
For our next question, we'll begin with candidate Burnett. What do you feel are the economic priorities for this district? How would you enable small businesses to thrive in our district's rural communities and smaller towns? They'll do 90 seconds for this one.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked the question, because I started my own business, and I've worked for large companies and done international development projects and with Fortune 500 companies, but I've also started my own business. And that's when you count every single penny, every single paperclip. And so it's really important that we make sure that the rules and regulations that we have that can foster small businesses. In fact, I'm working on a bill that I think is going to have great job opportunities throughout Colorado and help entrepreneurs in a new energy economy. That's one of the things I'm working on. But I had a constituent in Louisville that had $1 million of inventory carrying costs. And they came to me because it was an antiquated law that was holding them back. And so I reached way across the aisle to one of my Republican colleagues, and we got that law fixed. I want to work together as bipartisan as possible on things, because small businesses are the engine of our economy. And yeah, so that's it.
Candidate Kervin for 90 seconds.
Yes, thank you. I think COVID actually gutted the small businesses throughout the country, and in particular Colorado. And that was really sad to see. And it's going to take a long time to bring all those businesses back. And I think we could do a lot in the General Assembly to occurring, particularly reducing all the regulations that are on these small businesses, all these fees that have been added to their business models, the delivery fee, Tracy Burnett sponsored, 27 cents for every package. That's going to really hurt the rural people of Colorado and all of us, particularly in a time when we have inflation rate at 16%. And just remember, inflation is just a tax without your permission. So we, I think, need to take the regulations off the small businesses, do everything we can to encourage them to grow, make it easy for them. And I don't think the state of Colorado has been helpful at all to many of the small business teams. Thank you.
Our next question will be directed for candidate Kervin.
Yep.
As a state legislator, how would you address property tax relief for seniors for 1 minute?
Well, I think, I don't know exactly how the tax codes get developed and act, so I have to plead a little ignorance there. But I would like to see all the tax relief that we have for all special groups, be it seniors, be it veterans, be it Gold Star families. I need to understand the whole model of how that works. And I have to say I'm ignorant to a certain extent on that because I haven't been privy to those documents. But I certainly think that we have to support and people like our veterans, et cetera, that have not, that need the support, especially during this time. And it looks like it's frozen.
Oh, candidate Kervin, you're still here?
Yes, I am. It just.
Okay. Can you hear us?
I'm still here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Candidate Burnett for 1 minute.
Well, we've got a growing aging population. It's a fastest growing segment of our entire population. And people, elderly, they're on fixed incomes. They tend to have more medical issues. And so property taxes is a really big part of that. I think that Tabor really plays into that. It's been, it's just strangled our economy. It's strangled the way we can fund our schools. And so what happens is things like, schools increase the property taxes because they're not getting the aid from the state. And, so I do think that we need to, reduce property taxes for seniors because they are on fixed incomes. And help them also with utilities so that and services that they can age in place so that they can continue to stay in their homes and age in their homes rather than go into expensive nursing homes.
Okay. For the next question will be directed to candidate Burnett. What can state legislators do to help ease the housing affordability crisis for 1 minute?
Okay, well, we've already done a lot in that we have invested over $400 million in affordable housing this year. And I also passed a bill that that makes affordable rental housing for moderate income folks like teachers who are starting out in their jobs. But this is, affordable housing is an issue that we have across the country, and it's particularly bad here in Boulder County. And I have been working with the East County Housing Opportunities, ECHO. Always listen to the advice that they have on how we can reduce affordable housing. And some of it's building better affordable housing from the get-go because it's clean, it's more energy efficient, and people, especially renters, if you have a leaky building, those utility costs get passed right on to the renters, the people who can least afford it. And those are the kind of things I've been working on and will continue to work on.
Candidate Kervin for 1 minute.
Yes, I think affordable housing, I've been here now 50 years in Colorado, and we've had the same issue going on. And as long as we continue to want our open space and not and have a moratorium, et cetera, on areas of the county to build, you're going to have this tension with affordable housing. And I think that it's a difficult situation, and I don't think we can build back right to begin with, because that's very expensive, and there's only so many people that can afford those kinds of materials and structures. So I think we have to be pragmatic again about affordable housing, and sometimes you're not going to be able to do that in every community. And I suggest that we have to think at a much broader scale than what we're doing, and have handoffs here. Open space, or are we going to have more housing for people? Thank you.
Candidate Burnett. Oh, never mind. Looks like we are at time. So we will go ahead and go to closing statements. We'll begin with candidate Kervin for 1 minute.
Again, I thank you all for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I'm sorry about the technical changes, but I want you to know I'm a problem solver. I have the leadership experience, business acumen from years of being a corporate leader. I have the compassion, and I believe I'll be an effective representative for House District 12. We need to hold the administration accountable for what they have done to Colorado. Colorado is less safe, less affordable, and our kids are truly in despair. I believe I can change that. Vote for me, Anya Kervin. Thank you.
Next, candidate Burnett for closing statements for 1 minute.
Thank you, everyone. One of the reasons I ran for office was because of my son, who nearly died of an asthma attack when he was 2. Colorado's Front Range has some of the worst ozone air quality in the world, and I'm working on fixing that. I'm also working on bringing jobs in the new green economy to all areas of Colorado, capitalizing on the research and development and entrepreneurial talent we have right here in Boulder County. And as I said, I'm just getting started. And I will continue to use the 3 E's: environment, education, and equity as my guiding principles. My extended family represents the entire political spectrum, but our parents taught us that we're family first. The nonprofit boards I've served on are liberals to libertarians. We come together to work on issues and for a common purpose. There's still many issues that need to be solved, but I believe that we can get through this by pulling together as a community and looking out for each other, because we're Coloradans first, we're Americans first, and thank you.
On behalf of the League, I would like to thank our candidates not only for their participation in tonight's forum, but also for their participation in the democratic process. Running for office and serving as an elected official is hard work, and we really appreciate your efforts. Thank you to our League Candidate Forum volunteers, including Elizabeth Crow, our president and Josephine Porter, our Candidate Forum coordinator. To view this forum online, please visit the League's YouTube channel for the video recording. Thank you also to our League of Women Voters election season sponsors, which include Elevations Credit Union, High Plains Bank, Christina's Luxuries, Big F Restaurant Group, Simmons Family Fund, Lions Gaddis, Gigi and Company Pet Products, Dr. Dan Moniz, Charlie Matson, and Joanne Silverstein, and more. We appreciate their contributions to make sure Boulder County voters have access to accurate, trustworthy, nonpartisan election information. And finally, thanks to our House District 12 voters participating tonight as viewers. It's up to all of us to make sure we respect and work to protect our democratic processes. Too many people have suffered and succeeded in the struggle to win these rights for us not to use them. It starts with being an informed and active voter. Following this forum, please check out vote411.org for all the information you need about local, state, and national candidates and ballot issues. The League of Women Voters of Boulder County works throughout the year to help empower voters and defend democracy. If you would like to lend your time and skills to encourage civil engagement for all people in a nonpartisan manner, please join us. All the information you need is on our website at www.lwvbc.org. Thank you again and have a great evening. Remember
you.
to vote on Tuesday, November 8th,
Yeah,
or before then, if you already have your ballot.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your help.
Thank you, Martine.